eBay has banned the sale of masks, hand sanitizer, and sanitary wipes. It's important to remember that in the modern age, eBay is just like it's like the community market where we used to go to buy and sell and trade our goods and get what we needed. And I believe Amazon is doing something similar, although the Amazon companies were out of stock on this stuff weeks ago. But so that is our modern marketplace, and our corporate masters at eBay are controlling what we can buy and sell, and not just because it's something like, oh, you can't buy or sell dynamite or something. No, it's something as innocuous as hand sanitizer, as innocuous as sanitary wipes. Now they're saying they're doing this for two reasons: to protect people from price gouging, and to make sure that our medical professionals have the inventory they need and the supplies they need. Okay, first off, the price gouging one. Yes, masks were selling at a much higher than normal price on eBay, but that was the market price. At least masks were selling and you could get them. Now masks are not selling and you cannot get them. How is that an improvement? That is not an improvement. And some people might say, oh, well, you could fix it by setting a maximum price they can charge. That doesn't solve the problem either. That actually is an impingement. Your goal is to have the fewest number of people get sick and die, right? That's your goal. That happens when you have the most number of people that can get masks. If you set a price cap, let me tell you why that doesn't help. The masks that are being sold on eBay right now are not coming off the factory line or anything like that. These are masks that people have had in stock. Maybe a little hardware store that had a few extra cases in reserve. Or maybe a guy who was into woodworking who bought a couple cases of them but doesn't do too much woodworking anymore. Or maybe a prepper who had too many, decided he had more than he was going to need, and so he sold a few and made a few extra bucks. That's where these masks are coming from. If you drop a set price at the normal price, these masks will go right back where they were, staying in the dusty corners because they're not worth selling, at that price, especially with shipping and everything. So it doesn't help people to try and control these things. And as far as helping our medical professionals, make sure they have the supplies they need, doctors and hospitals do not go on eBay and buy 10 masks from George Kropotnik in Iowa. It's not the way it works. They buy these things through distributors and stuff like that. And the distributors are not going online and selling these masks 10 at a time on eBay either, because that's not the kind of business these big distributors are set up to do. It's not the way they work. If there is any hospital, doctor, or anything in the United States that doesn't have enough masks, it is a failure of government, and I'll tell you why. Because the government, the president himself, has said that the CDC has 42 million masks in inventory. Okay? Plus, they admitted that they have basically sequestered U.S. production months ago, and that so they have millions more masks on the way. Now, 42 million masks, and that's why there's a shortage, incidentally, because the government sequestered the production. 42 million masks is more masks than the United States uses even in a bad flu year for medical purposes. According to trade journals, the United States uses between 25 and 40 million masks a year. So we have more than a year's supply for our medical workers. Now, granted, they may need more than a year's supply this year. But again, there are factories working 24/7 at the instruction of the government. The government has bought up all their inventory going forward. So if anybody doesn't have masks, any medical people don't have masks, it's because the government is causing the problem, not Joe and Fred and Bill buying and selling on eBay. Okay? So my point in all this is, we know about our government masters, but we have corporate masters as well, and it's important to remember that. And they are controlling or influencing heavily what we see, what information we get, thus how our ideas are formed, what information we give out and all that. And you guys know all that by what's monetized and what's demonetized and whatever, and what's banned and whose sites or whatever, what you can find in. You know all that stuff. But they are also controlling our commerce in the modern age. They are controlling what the modern swap meet we can buy or sell. And we cannot buy or sell even something as innocuous as hand sanitizer without their permission. And that bit about powers that be controlling what we can buy or sell, it sounds familiar to me, but that's maybe a whole other story. Don't forget it when this blows over, and this will blow over eventually. It's going to be ugly between now and then. Don't forget that. Make sure you are well prepared next time. And remember that it can be something as stupid as a sanitary wipe, but they can still control it and tell you whether or not you can have it or not. The CCP has absolute control over all their people, but even the CCP never told them they couldn't buy and sell masks. In fact, in some areas, the CCP made it a law that you could not go outside without a mask on. And what's even more is the CCP provided hundreds of millions of masks to their people. Now, I'm not praising the CCP by any stretch. It is an iron fist without the velvet glove. I'm just pointing out, guys, we also are ruled by iron fists, many of them. They're just wearing velvet gloves, and because there's so many of them, they seem smaller. We're little fish in the reef, and we can be very free as long as we're quiet little fish. As long as we swim in the dark places and not out in the open attracting too much imperial attention. And as long as we are wise and clever and think ahead and are prepared and well supplied. Okay? That's my 2 cents worth. Hope you guys are ready for this, because it is ugly. If you look at what's happening, at the details of what's happening at the nursing homes in Washington State, because that's what's coming toward us, they are seeing just utter devastation of the elderly people who are getting this. We're hearing there are some incidences now coming out of Washington State that are like what we heard in rumors from Iran and in rumors from China, where weak elderly people are going from no symptoms, I feel fine, to I'm horribly ill, call the ambulance, get me straight into ICU, to within an hour or two, to dead within an hour or two after that. It's happening here in some instances, which I guess has almost got to be some kind of an anaphylactic shock reaction or something, but react to the toxin that the virus is creating or something. But the point is, this is going to devastate our elderly population. Many of us are that elderly population. I am. I'm healthy elderly as far as I know, but this is going to be devastating. But when it blows over, never be lulled into a sense of belief that we really have this free democracy and free republic that we think we have, because it's an illusion. Be prepared. Understand you have many, many masters, and they can control things.